What's up, YouTube? I am about to go live on TikTok. As I do, give me just a second. I'm going to come up with a clever title or a not so clever title. I guess we shall see. Safe. I know this trolls people. Safe space for men is very triggering, probably for some people. All right, let's go live. Let's do the damn thing. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the liberal loudmouth, and we are back for some more action. As we do every Monday, we have Manly Mondays going on. Let me make sure I can hear myself testing. Okay, sweet. I can hear myself. Let's see. I'm going to share myself out to my peoples. John, you're going to get one. Debo, Ben, Dylan. All right, we'll just go through the list here. We are live. Manly Monday. Booyah. All right, so for the first 2 hours of the show, welcoming everybody. For the first 2 hours, it'll be man space, and then we will transition into politics thereafter. It's just a space so that men can talk about really whatever we need to get off our chest any moment, any given time. I was just looking up some statistics that showed like 53% of men regretted opening up, which is pretty nuts. I also found this 2025 report. Let me try to pull it up here. It's kind of crazy, actually. The identities that men basically make for themselves that end up causing real harm. You know, we're seeing it in the self-unaliving rates, like right here. The report found 86% of men and 77% of women view being a provider as defining manhood, a gender expectation challenged by growing income inequality, wage stagnation, and job insecurity. They also found that men facing financial strain were 16 times more likely to report self-unaliving thoughts than those who were not. That is pretty wild. Now, I was curious about the 77% of women. I wonder if they're saying that 77% of women think that a man's role is provider and that identifies masculinity, or if they're saying 77% of women think their own identity is. I don't know. I'd have to dig further to look. Yeah, what's up, Dylan? Yeah, you're welcome up, man. I know you've been up all night. For the record, guys, Dylan there in the comments, if you don't know, he runs his own show. He's a Canadian. He starts usually later on, and we just came from there. So to those that came from Dylan's panel, I appreciate it, especially if you're a first-time person onto the show. You know, everybody's welcome. Men for the first 2 hours anyway. I sure would like to hear from Benjamin, though. Hopefully Benjamin shows up. Let me see if he's actually made it in. I haven't seen him in several days, but there's Tish. But yeah, if you are a man and you have something that you'd like to talk about, get off your chest, this is the time to do it. Good morning, Kara. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate everybody being here. You know, it's a growing space. This is kind of a new thing. It feels weird to me to not have women come up on the show, but you know, it's something I think that we need to deal with. And, you know, as a man in my own life, like I am struggling, like I'm pretty depressed. You know, my wife is almost 10 hours away. I, used to do a lot more contract work. I brought in a lot more money, and it's really fucking with me. You know, I've been trying to get this to work, and when it doesn't, financially help as much as I would like, it bugs me. Like, it really, really bothers me. And, my wife, though, she's been the breadwinner for a long time. And, I can't thank her enough for her ability to manage those spaces. But I'm one of those guys, you either really like me or you fucking can't stand me. And so I don't do well in like social situations. I'm really not a social person. That may seem at odds with me having my face up here, but I guess I'll just, since it's a space for men, I'm a man too. I'll just talk about some of the feelings I've been having. It's and it's a weird thing for me because I know that I shouldn't care, about the money, what have you, but it really does eat at me, and it causes me to have those thoughts too. I've struggled with that for a while. You know, feelings of being useless, thoughts that, I should be doing more, that, I'm not doing enough. I don't know. It's really hard. And thank God my wife is really good at, kind of helping me to mitigate those, those thoughts and feelings, what have you. And I'm going to bring my alt up here so that I can step out, because after talking about this, I'll need to step out for a minute. But I don't know. And I know if I'm dealing with that, there are a lot of guys out there too that deal with this. And so that's why I wanted this space, so that guys can come and chat without feeling like they're being judged. Because, and it is true. When you open up about people, like I'm even uncomfortable now talking to you guys, because there's somebody in the comments that's going to take something I say and use it against me at some point later. Like call you a crybaby, shit like that. And, I don't know that bothers me as much, but it's the fact that it's coming, and that prevents men from coming out and talking about it, because they know that it happens. And women engage in this a lot. And I'm not trying to make this like a woman versus man thing, but when you see that, I would like to see a lot more women like shit on other women that engage in that. You know what I mean? Because like as men, we're expected, and rightly so, to call out these shit suckers that come up and say the most, disastrous things about women, the, sexist things or whatever. So I would like to see a lot more of that where, it looks like my goal was met. Who's that? Oh, APAC. Thank you. APAC, get up here. I would like to see a lot more of that. I've never seen on like a TikTok panel, like a woman just lash out another woman engaging in that, like making fun of some dude for, what he said or what he did. I don't know. Have you seen it, APAC, where that there's like any kind of movement towards that, where there's accountability on the other side as well?
No, I see less of that, unfortunately, with women than I do with men. So I think it could be because, and maybe I'm wrong here, but could be because they feel like there's already opposing forces and there's already a lot of things stacked against them. So they don't want to be an additional force, opposing force. But the problem with that
makes sense.
Yeah. But the problem with that is then where's the accountability, right? Sometimes people think that love can't make its way or can't be visible, through discipline or through, someone, just taking you by the arms and shaking you, saying, "What's wrong with you?" But sometimes people need that. So
yeah, because like I was talking earlier about my wife and I being apart or whatever. I have you ever had thoughts, APAC, of it's like she'd probably be better off without me, because of course in your situation I think you make decent money, don't you?
Decent, but I have a lot of expenses.
Well, I should say, compared to your spouse, would you say that's accurate?
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
So you probably don't juggle with that necessarily as much, versus just I've got to take care of everything myself, which is its own issue. That's because it's a lot of weight
with that. Like it's the opposite. Like she asked me if I'm happy. She asked me sometimes if I, regret marrying her because of her ailments. And she thinks because I guess she can't have biological kids, and because she has, I think, like 4 autoimmune disorders, that that she's a burden, and so that's and I feel for that. So sometimes I feel like every day I gotta remind her.
Sucks.
and kind of prove that she's not, but gets to a point where, I'm not an aggressive person, but I did just, tell her like sternly, look, you got to cut cut that out because I understand what you're doing and it's coming from a place of love, but it's destroying me on the inside because you're basically there's anyone that attacks my wife, I'm gonna have some words for them, but the person attacking my wife is my wife. So and
Right.
so sometimes you have to draw that line.
Yeah, that's interesting because like I feel that way with my wife, and hearing you be on the like receiving end of what I sometimes will do, and now I can kind of see the way that my wife feels about that. That sucks. But I don't, me personally, I don't know how to not feel that way. You know, it sucks.
Uh,
And
I
I'm
think
sure
it's
she probably feels the same way.
yeah.
She
I mean,
doesn't know how to not feel that way.
yeah, I, I I think with guys it's more networking. Like I always like tell people that um, look, it's not that you're not a smart person. It's not that you don't have invaluable skills. It's the environment that you're in. I think a lot of our problems are environmentally based. So it's like if you find yourself in a position where you're like on LinkedIn, for example, or just like emailing and interacting with, professionals in your field of interest. And same thing with dating. I think dating goes the same way. Some people wonder, like, you have like the most sometimes attractive people that end up finding like the most crummy, like person. And you're like, why? Why does this happen? And it's environment. Put yourself in a better environment, and things get exponentially better. So
Yeah. Hooligan, welcome in, man. It's good to see you. I figured you'd show up. I appreciate your consistency up here on the panel too. By the way, on Mondays, you're always a welcome
Yeah, morning,
voice.
Lib.
Yeah.
Morning, APAC. Morning, everybody. I got to be straight, Lib, since cause I've followed you for a while now, but I've only, it's all been the political shit, and so, whatever a month ago, whatever, when you shot this, and I caught, came into it like, it's like a Monday mandatory, bro, for me.
Right.
I think. And I feel like on the right topic, which we normally hit, right? I think there's a few of us that gain from this, and I think there's a few people in the, that are watching you, and then they're watching the panel that, that it's helpful for. So, you know what I mean? My Monday mornings have definitely changed. As far as trying to look forward to maybe helping somebody out. I know I've always got shit on my head, dude. So the fact that we actually do have a spot to, come and try to talk to like-minded guys, right? Specifically, I think it's beneficial, bro. It's super beneficial, for me anyway. So, but real quick on what you guys were just kind of chatting about, APEC, you just said something about like the environment that you're in. I think part of it may be like we don't know everybody, right? Like I may see this guy walking down the street and have some kind of, uh, in a positive way, like some kind of judgment. Oh, he's in a suit, or he's got this. You may have some kind of thought on who this person might be, or a female. Oh, she might be like this, but we don't really know who those people are until behind closed doors, when you get to truly know somebody. So you may see opposites together. You may see, and you'd be like, man, how does that work? Well, my needs don't match my profile. You know what I'm saying? Um, I've got a lot of shit that I've tucked away and put away, probably more so because of, let's say, that profile, because of who I am. I'm a slightly one more of those tougher guys, right? Definitely more testosterone bound, definitely more aggressive than I am passive. And so for someone like me to open up and to say I'm sad or I'm hurting, sometimes can be it can be hard, because it's not expected. The strong dad, the strong man, the strong friend. We're not always, I don't know, like I said, we're not always expected to have that soft side, and so it gets tucked away a lot, right? So my woman is very passive. She's very sensitive. She is like non-aggressive to the max. She's the opposite. So it's actually for her and I, being kind of opposites that we are, like we really match because she can help me bring out and make me feel okay with being sensitive, being emotional, feeling weak, not feeling, because there's days where I'm not strong. I have to be, but I'm not, and so with having a partner that doesn't expect me to be, I mean, she knows who I am, but she doesn't. She's okay with me not being so aggressive all the time, right? I don't have to. I can be soft with her, and I can let that side out.
But you still in
I think
public,
that's one.
or you try to maintain that. Like even right now, like I got emotional earlier, and I still, even though I know I should be open with it, there's this weird feeling that you can't exist that way in public, right? Even if we know,
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and it sucks. I don't even know how to get
yeah.
over that really.
Well, and I mean, Jesus, I think it also we can almost every week we can fall back to it, but it's the way we were brought up. It's the way society has been, you know, where you're not supposed to be a soft man, right? You're supposed to be the tough dad, the tough, or the strong husband, the strong dad, you know. And so we haven't really necessarily, not that we haven't been allowed, because I know every situation is definitely different, but we're not supposed to be soft and weak. We are military men, right? We are dads of big families, small family. You know what I mean? We're just
We
relied
we
upon.
we don't take baths. We beat our chest with wet rocks, right?
Right,
That's
right,
how we get clean. Just so everybody
and
knows.
Wipe
yeah,
my ass
yeah,
with
right,
pine
right.
needles.
Bag
That's a
full of gravel.
Ah,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
said
yeah.
wipe his ass with pine needles. That's right. That's right. Perfect.
And so I think for us to turn and be able to come out of,
You're, you're gay. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I didn't mean
Oh,
that for
you
clarify.
cut out there. We missed. I think the content of that message, and yeah, you were cutting out.
And I'll just leave it there.
All right. Well, hooligan, you were saying.
uh, I just think that with this and with me, like I've noticed that I haven't been soft enough, or that I haven't been sensitive and always shown my emotions in the right way. And so just coming through um the times, you're not left with a choice, right? Like I can be this bottled up, shaken can of, or of soda, you know, where I'm just ready to explode all the time, or I can let some of the guards down and try to let somebody try to understand me. And I think that's where I've gotten lately is I just want someone to fucking understand me. And not just somebody, right? Somebody, I guess, important, right? My old lady, you know what I'm saying? My brother, my sister, someone I can, I don't give a fuck. If I gotta cry, then I gotta cry, and you're gonna deal with it. And if it makes you uncomfortable, then I just won't fucking do that with you no more. You know what I'm saying? But like, we as men have to find somebody that we can be emotional with, be sensitive, be soft, you know?
And of course,
And not everybody's like that.
there's always going to be a balance, though, right? Because human nature, like, there's trauma dumping is one thing if in public. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's a difference between being vulnerable and just like losing your shit.
Oh, totally.
In a moment, because I like right now, like I'm not really okay mentally, and I still don't know. I
don't think any liberal's okay mentally.
I mean, that's
Whoa.
jokes
Not the
aside.
spot, homeboy.
Yeah, jokes aside. It's I don't know. Even though I host this panel every Monday, I still don't. I don't know what to do with it. And
Well,
it really
you and your
sucks.
wife are still not like under the same roof right now, right? Because
Right.
of the. Is that
Yeah,
is
it's-
that
I mean,
something
it's-
that's
It's not as big of a factor. I mean, I don't think. We've
well
been
that
together.
she's not there with you to talk to all the time?
Right. I'm missing that part. And it's
Right.
you talk on the phone, but it's not the same. There's
Not at all.
there's a lot of things going on in my life that it's
You said
I'm-
it right there, bro. You said it right there. It's called life. We all got to fucking deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. That is true. But we shouldn't have to carry some of that completely alone and be afraid to express it without fear of, judgment.
Ridicule.
Or somebody using
Be careful because
that
it was
against you.
promised to the.
Hey, you remember as a kid, I don't know, maybe if you had a dad or what, but you watch your dad, right? And you see him going through all his trials and tribulations of life, raising a family, right? And some, not all dads are created equal. We got some dads out there that were, drug addicts, alcoholics, whatever. But I remember my dad looking at him, and he would tell me this one thing, no matter what I was going through in life. He would say, if you live long enough, you'll find out what it is. Because I would ask him questions, and the questions that I was asking him, life experiences, you just really can't answer those questions. You just gotta live life and endure it, and you answer your own questions, basically. And that's just part of life. I mean, I don't know if that resonates with you guys or it's making sense, but that's what my dad always used to tell me.
I think that a lot of times when people suffer a lot, that they have to try to find value in that suffering. And I would prefer that less people suffer in general. Because I think, and I don't disagree with your dad wanting you to be optimistic, but specifically what your dad was saying is that I've had a hard ass life and I'm struggling. And I don't know how to tell you or prepare you for the fact that life is going to be hard as shit to you because we've not set this world up for success.
Well, the
So
thing
I
is,
think that's what I think. Like when you look at like let me ask you a question because I can I think I might be wrong, but I think I know where you kind of stand on some stuff. Would you prefer your children to be born in a world where they have universal health care?
well, besides the healthcare,
I know,
I'm
just a
talking-
yes or no.
I'm-
And we can move on from it after that. Just a yes or no.
Well, I mean,
Yes or no?
No, hold on, wait a minute, because you're
Just yes or-
you're
do
kind of
you
putting
want
me
your
on the
children-
spot. You're kind of putting me on the spot.
Oh my
with the
God, this is
question.
not a hard. Okay, you can
Listen,
just say
bro,
no.
Can I talk? Can I talk?
I just want to no
Can I
because
talk?
I don't want an
Okay,
explanation.
Wow.
Let me interject
Sorry.
here real quick because
You're making something political, bro. I'm talking something outside. I'm talking about real
Right.
shit, not politics, bro.
I'm talking about
I don't
creating a
think he
mental.
was going.
Okay.
Yeah, half baked. I don't think he was. Or I don't think half baked was going political. I think it was a different question, dude.
I'm talking more about the
universal
equitable
healthcare.
society. I'm talking about the equitable society
Okay, if you
that's going to
have
give your
let me ask you this:
your children.
if you have universal
because
health care,
you are not going to ask me a question
bro?
without asking
No,
answering mine.
Listen,
I asked you
stop
a yes or
over-talking
no.
me. Stop
Okay,
over talking
but
me
do
and let
interrupt.
me ask you this.
Do not interrupt.
I'm
You
gonna
see
I'm
what-
gonna address your question.
I just want a
What I'm
yes or
saying is,
no. I
Does
don't want all
universal
this back
health
and
care
forth.
fix the problems of the world, bro? Does
Universal health care dropped in. Do you
That's
know
what I
we have
thought.
universal
It
health
would
care in
help.
America?
it? That's what I thought.
It would help. That's for sure.
Oh my God, are you Okay, I'm genuinely because you haven't answered my question. I'll answer
Listen,
your
man,
question. I'll just say
universal
you asked
health
me a
care
yes
is
or no.
not going to stop.
Let me show you
It's
how
not going to
easy this
stop
is.
high gas prices. It's not going to stop people putting food on the table. It's not going to stop anything. It's not going to stop depression. It's not going to stop wars. So, I mean, come correct.
I'm gonna wait for you to finish.
What's this
Are
universal
you
health care
done?
shit got to do with
Where
anything, bro?
okay, so are you done? Are you done with your plane? And can you answer my question that I asked you that made you go off on a tangent?
That's what I'm
Do
talking
you
about. You
want
see,
your children?
that's the liberals'
Do you
mindset right there. All
no
right,
to
man.
ask a question
Have a
and
good one,
expect the
bro. Have a
answer?
good one. Have a good one.
Okay.
All I asked him if he wanted his children to have a good life, and he said, "I got a question for you," and he could not answer that. Is that not ridiculous? That
Okay, then half baked. Why don't you go ahead and so they ask me that? Yes, I mean that would be a huge stress gone. I mean, if there was, let's say, universal health care, staying out of politics. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fuck, if I didn't have to worry about the payment out, you know what I mean, and all the bullshit through that insurance, that's like a safety
being
net. So
scared and
yeah, that would
keeping your children home when they have a cold instead of taking them to the doctor because you can't afford to take a day off of work, and it's like, well, it's just a cold, but now your kid's feverish. Now maybe they've got trauma from having to, because we put it off because it's not that serious yet. We're not going to take it that seriously. There's a reason that when Richard Nixon, we have universal health care for the kidney. And I'm not going to get into that. I'm not trying to get to box, but I'm saying that's why it doesn't matter who it is. We have universal health care for the kidney, and it dropped when he signed that into law. If you could not afford dialysis, you could get that done for free, and it was affordable. It was paid for by the U.S. government because the cost of end-stage kidney failure was so significant. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna tie this back in because I feel like it sounds like I'm on a loop. It goes into the mental health care as well because that's the reason because it's not valued. Health is not valued. Your time is not valued. Taking time to step away from your life isn't valued, and it's a big issue of it when it says about making safe space for men. It needs to be men doing it too, because if you're not holding the men in your spaces accountable to their actions and the stuff that they're saying, then what are you working towards?
Yeah, and let me just say that I would be continuing to see a therapist if I hadn't lost my health care. But I can't.
Not only that, and then also maybe if you needed medication and a psychiatrist, not you specifically, right. I'm just saying in general, a person, we would have people who have access to mental health care, physical health care, stop getting everybody else sick, spreading pandemics and all these other things at a much younger age because they have access to these things and resources, basic resources. It comes to
it does add extra burden when as a parent who believes, because I just read that it was, what was it, 86% of men view being a provider as defining manhood, and so if your child is sick and now you can't just take them to the doctor quickly, get it back done, now you got to stay home or whatever, and that's going to hurt you, and that all of that goes on in your mind as a result of that, and it causes more stress. It's unnecessary.
And then there's a schmore going on, and so we're supposed to ignore that, and gas prices are going up, so you have to figure out which budget. What are we cutting this week? What are we cutting this month? Which thing am I not going to have that, like, the bare minimum for my kids, because they have no public spaces to go to anymore.
Yeah, no,
they don't have places to go interact safely.
It's certainly a problem, but I will say that even if you were to make mental health care free, a lot of men would struggle to just even go in that.
But men need to talk to men more about holding themselves accountable, and not just holding themselves accountable, but holding the people in their lives accountable. A lot of times we get in very uncomfortable situations. I managed specifically like an automotive facility. So like it was literally technicians, all that stuff, very, masculine, man's man. They've been doing this for 30, 40 years, whatever. And they're talking about their wives and they're calling them all sorts of this and that and whatever. And it's like, dude, do you not realize like the same type of like environment that you're creating right here as you're trying to make it a safe, it shouldn't be a safe space for you to vent, to be an asshole. It should be a safe space for you to realize what is like right or wrong about how you're addressing certain things. It's calling people in. it's not about calling you out. You're in community with people. You call them in and you say, look,
Well,
this is not healthy.
well, and the thing about it's what Lib,
So
what Lib
wait.
just said
You're
is
saying
it's-
that the safe space should be where you bring a bunch of men together and then shit on them?
No, I'm saying that if they're wrong, it's about having the conversation and acknowledging that, like, hey, look, the way you're approaching this is maybe part of the problem, because a lot of the time, who's making the space not safe for men 9 times out of 10?
I mean,
Other men.
I don't know.
man.
Oh, Mr.
Ourselves.
I think Mr. So I'm glad Mr. C. Fox said it. It's other men. The expectation that you can't cry. Boys don't cry. The expectation of
Do you think that
have
it's
to be,
only men that say that to men?
Oh, I absolutely believe that.
Do you
women,
think that a
as
man,
a victim of a,
because we
of
actually
a, go
we
ahead,
talked
sorry.
about this the other day. It stings more for a man to hear that from a woman than it does for a man to hear it from a man.
I think it
does.
does sting in a lot of ways more from a woman, maybe because of the fact that critique.
This isn't about
is not-
assigning blame, though, right?
No, I'm
That's
not- I'm
what
just
this
saying- I'm
space
just saying is-
for.
I don't think generally men take critique from women as well as they take it from other men. Just being honest, because of the way that patriarchy functions, there is an expectation that a woman's critique is she's just on her period, she's being emotional. We literally developed the word.
Okay,
with
what is your
histrionics.
point?
My point is, it's not about shitting on men. It's about telling men, hey, you're asking for this softness, this delicate, like you want to be treated delicately. Are you providing that? And reflect on that to make sure, because if you're not providing that for your sons and your children and raising your children to be delicate and soft and making sure that your home and your family is a safe space and a soft space for them, then what does it even matter? Your kids shouldn't be making the same type of like adult ass weird ass jokes that a 20-year-old is making.
I guess. Okay, so
I'm saying a safe space
Have
is
you been up here
accountability.
before? Have you watched this show before?
No, I'm just commenting on what I've seen
Yeah.
so far.
So
from the
we don't
comments.
allow that behavior here. We don't allow that behavior here. We will drop them. We will call them out for it.
Oh, I respect that. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. I like that.
I'm not.
That's
I'm not
good.
here. This is a place for men to come together to talk about shit that's bugging them, shit that they don't.
I got you.
they
Maybe
don't
I
have
misunderstood. I thought you were asking like what's lacking to make a safe space.
No, the safe space for men moniker is kind of a troll to a certain group of people that hate me. It's more of a kind of a internal ha-ha for myself, although it is also true. What I'm trying to do here anyway. That's why I was confused by what you're saying. Like,
I think I misunderstood the prompt then, because my point was more so about I want, as far as for making a safe space for men, I want more men to be intentional about that and not just look for it when they're about to break down. I think a lot of people they look for when it's their moment to reach out instead of focusing on the fact that like they're not making sure that their friends can reach out and feel safe to reach out. Because I think that's what you were even talking about, is that we were online talking about this and someone brought up like this is something like that, not derogatory, but you feel like you're missing that being able to communicate about talking about that. And I hate that for you. And even Hooligan was talking about he wants to be able to talk about that with his, like, not your stuff, but his stuff with his brothers and his family and the other people in his life, and be able to cry without being seen and perceived as somebody who's weak because of that emotion. I just want to make sure that we're also then thinking and reflecting on that and how we push that on to other people, because we still, the reason that a lot of people don't feel that way is because it's just normalized that when you see some guy doing whatever, you're going to bitch him out because of the fact that he's being emotional or being whatever. So like my point was more so like, make sure as much as you want a safe space, also make sure you're being intentional about building a safe space for the people in your life to do that. Because I don't think a lot of people are, just being honest. Like, I think a lot of men want to be able to cry about how rough it is right now. And it's rough. It's rough for everybody.
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm saying specifically, like, make sure that you're being intentional about how you try to make your actions not being part of what's making it rougher. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm not sure I really understand what it is you think this is for. I don't think you get it. Maybe hang around and you'll see.
No worries.
know?
I'll just mute up
No.
and just listen for a little bit.
No, I appreciate that. But yeah, so we do have a couple of people here. Dylan, and then Mr. C. Dylan, what's up, man? What's going on?
Yo, what's up, Flo, bro? What you doing, man? What you up to?
Well, trying to get through this without, bawling my eyes out. I don't know why. It's just a weird day. It's a weird day.
No, I mean, like, talk about it, man.
No shit, dude. What's going on, lib?
That's what
I
this
mean, it's
space
just,
is.
it's just everything. Like because usually somebody comes up here with a problem, and today I'm the one that's got the problem, and I feel so weird
Well,
talking about
just because you're the host, bro, don't mean you don't get a fucking platform, to use, bro. So
I know, and this part of the problem.
we focused on a lot of other people these past few weeks since you started this, bro, and why don't you go ahead and take a few minutes, doggy? Can we help you out? What's going on?
I don't know that there's any way to help. I feel particularly useless. I just do. You try to get this to work out financially. I used to do contract work, but then once I realized that this was something I could do, that I was passionate about, that I could also replace the income, from other places. But then, you get all the other crap that goes on with these groups that are attacking creators that they don't like. And then, now I don't know. It's just a lot. And it's been rough last week or so. And,
Has it been like, oh, sorry.
no, I was just going to say it'd been like it's just, you put on your public face, people don't know there's anything wrong, but your insides are tearing up.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. So,
Well, do you think it's because specifically the attacks that are going on TikTok, it leads to a lack of being able to trust people?
oh, that's, yeah.
Which only
That's another-
contributes to that addition of
Yes.
loneliness, right?
That I'm so glad you brought that up, Dylan. That is a huge factor because I don't know who to trust, and then I get called paranoid, but I have a reason not to.
Yeah.
And it's, of course, I know that's more TikTok related and just kind of like the way the space kind of operates, how weird these people are. But I don't know.
Is
I mean,
this
it's
your
not
main
technically-
source of income right now?
Do what now?
Sorry, Dylan. I was just asking, is this kind of your primary source of income right now?
Well, for me, yes, and that's another thing. I because of the pushback, I'm kind of an asshole when it comes to that. Like, if somebody tells me don't do something, or you can't do something, or we're gonna make it hurt, so you can't do something, it makes me want to do that thing even more. And so, like, I don't want to stop doing this because fuck you, but at the same time,
Have you heard of defiant disorder?
I haven't, but that that would put a lot of. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
There's like a thing like objectional defiant disorder where it's like being forced to do something or being asked or told something that is an ultimatum makes you want to do the opposite of it that much more, because it's like, who the fuck do you think you are to tell me?
Right.
And especially
Right.
when you've not had a lot of control, or if I'm not saying that specifically to you, but if you've not had a lot of control in your childhood, it gets
That's
it's
where it stems from.
Absolutely. When you don't get to have any type of independence as a kid, that objectional defiance disorder can get exacerbated, and it can make it to where, like, literally just in almost any interaction, somebody can be having a disagreement. And I won't lie, I have that. My bad. I'm gonna mute up.
No, you're fine. No, you bringing that. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. This was something that my therapist and I talked about. Because I was seeing a therapist for a minute, but then we lost our health care, and I just can't afford it. It sucks. But what do you do? But no,
What you do is in 2036,
Well-
you vote for me and my vice president, who will be a guillotine. I have some meetings set up for day 2, and we'll get this. My nudes are gonna leak, and I just need y'all to understand it's because I couldn't be bought by foreign countries,
your nudes
So-
are gonna leak.
and I'm gonna leak them first.
Oh my God, you ain't gonna blackmail me.
I'm gonna be the first presidential nominee with dong pics out before the nomination.
Oh,
That's
geez.
that's actually kind of funny. Hey,
But
Pat,
your
what's
children
up?
will be fed
And, I mean, look, I guess
and
as
have
long,
health care.
as long as you weren't interacting with Christy Noem's husband.
No, I'm not into bimbos. I respect his play, but also not that it was $5,000 a minute. That's nuts. No wonder she was so scared to lose her job. She couldn't afford his fetish.
Actually, you know what? I may have to jump on that bandwagon. Then $5,000 a minute. I'm kidding.
Sign me up.
So,
30 minutes a day.
So I'm
I'm
gonna say
set.
the SNL is awful, but the Baloobs joke, I was pissy. That just made me laugh so hard. Specifically, they were just like, "Oh, you're gonna make fun of my Baloobs," and I just like that word.
So
If any of you want to jump
Yeah,
around
back
for
to back.
$5,000 a minute, I will accept that.
Yeah,
Kinda
I
back
think
to
I
what you
heard.
were saying.
Yeah, hooligan. What's that?
Is that specific worthless feeling, you know what I mean, that you were saying, I can relate, bro. And I think, you know, and as shitty as it is, and it's not that it's suggested, but sometimes when I don't have a choice and that's the feeling, you just push the fuck through it. You know what I mean? You just gotta carry on because I know I'm not worthless, right? You know what I mean? I know I've got worth. It's just the moment, you know what I mean? I just need to get through this moment, or these next few moments. If I can get through the, let me push through this feeling, something else on my brain, right? Talk to a friend, you've got, this platform that obviously talk a lot of politics, which can keep the mind busy, you know what I'm saying? But like when it's all over, you just find something, call your old lady, you know what I mean? I just find something to keep me busy to get me through those moments because I do know they'll pass. They be heavy. They're heavy as fuck, and it's not. It's uncomfortable and it's shitty, and I don't think anybody should feel it. Man, woman, fucking child, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not a good feeling. But um, the cat that came up, I forget his name, and then what his dad said. You know, sometimes I don't know what to say to my kids about how to deal with some emotions because you don't know who they are really inside, you know what I mean, and how they want to, right? And each situation is different, so you just got to push forward. You learn, you live and you learn, and when bad emotions come up and you feel shitty, I mean, you got to find a way to kind of push through because if that shit will eat you up, it'll eat you alive and it eats everything around you. It's like fucking cancer, and it makes everything around you shitty, because you know, because I'm shitty, you know what I'm saying? And I can't let my lack of I don't know, knowledge, you know what I mean? My lack of maybe self strength at the moment, you can't let that fucking tear down what you've been working on and what you're building and your relationships, the kids, a significant other, family, a job, you know what I mean? Like you just gotta
I just hate this because so
try
many
to push
men.
through.
This it just feels so sad because this is all a function of. I just want to say like I'm gonna leave politics out of it, but I'm going to talk about socialization. This is all a function of capitalism. Like the way that we're being expended of our labor and being paid less and less and less and less. We have an AI bubble about to collapse. Like it doesn't make any sense. The fact that I mean, have any in your life?
You're cutting out in half.
Oh, my fault. Sorry, I have bad signal in this room. Is it better now?
It doesn't look
You
like it.
yes, but you cut out again as you said that. But I can hear you mostly. But yeah, I mean, if you want to
Yeah.
go ahead and land that, and then I'm going to get to
I
Mr.
guess
C
I'll
and
land the plane
Jean.
was just mean most a lot of people like 40 years ago could have taken $25,000 a year and survived healthily, like provided for their future, saved for their future, bought a home, built a home, and now you can be making 80 and $90,000 a year with a partner making the same amount and still not be able to afford a home. It's not it, the corporations are buying us, and that is why a lot of men feel small is because your labor is literally being minimalized. Your work, the amount of output that somebody does now, and this was honestly, this is like 5 or 6 years old, so it's probably increased from now. The amount of output that somebody does in a week now could be done in 20. Would
Yeah, you're breaking up real bad, and
26
also
hours to do the same amount of work.
you're like I take your point. Like yes, our work is being paid to us a lot less. There are a variety of factors of that, but that'll end up sparking a debate into politics, and we can save that for in an hour. I do want to point to something
I'll
that
wait on that.
Ball
I'm just
Talk
saying,
said,
I want. Sorry.
which is true. Liberal has been dealing with this for a year or more now, and said, and that's to what Hooligan was saying. It's it's like never ending constant. It's just been constant, and it's just really because the consequences of what has happened is coming to fruition, and it's tough to deal with, and then I discussed this with my wife, and I also don't want to be whiny. And so, I hold back a lot. And like, even now, I feel like I'm just whining. You know what I mean? I feel
Well, you're not,
judged
bro.
even talking. And it just, I don't, it's just, what do you do? I don't know. I mean, all I can do is get through it. That's
Is your
all
is
I
your
can do.
wife? I mean, you've been with her for so long, bro. She understands you. She knows you. So I don't think if you were to talk to her like that, she would consider that whining, right?
Well, I'm sure she wouldn't, but I feel that way. You know what I mean? And I know it's not right. Like I understand that's me feeling that way, but it doesn't lessen the feeling, right?
No, no, not at all. But I mean, if your partner is open, kind of like mine, then it does make it a little easier. Now, of course, we don't tell them everything. You know what I mean? That's just who we are, right? There's a level that we can get down to, and then the rest stays contained, right? This rest stays inside. But having a partner like that can definitely help. Being able to tell her, look, I'm just not, not feeling it. I told mine the other day. I was like, you know what, dude? I feel like if I'm not busy all the time, then I'm not worth anything. You know what I mean? Like when I'm producing, right? And maybe it's the same. Like if I'm producing, then I feel like, then I'm earning my key, earning my spot, um, and I think that's kind of fucked up, because we need a time to be able to stop and be, our emotion, take care of ourselves, but like I said, having a partner, you know what I mean? And some of us, I see John's up here, he's APAC, some of us, dude, man, you can hit me up on the side too, brother. You know what I mean? If you need to talk, you know what I mean? Like just to have another brother, because some of us as we get old, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've lost a lot of my brothers, dude. They've all died. All my friends growing up, my circle is really small. Um, and so
Like self
ha-
unalived or just
no,
over
no,
just
no,
life.
yes, just life. I mean, I'm like 10 friends down, and I'm already only like 44. So like that loss, you lose your buddy, when you've known a motherfucker for 20 years and you can't talk to him no more. Who do you talk to? Well, you can't talk to no
Right.
one if you've known a year like that, right? So having good friends to talk to can be limited once we get older, right? Whether they die, whether they pass away, or they move away. Some people move and you just kind of lose that contact, and so I'll put that out there to anybody that's listening, y'all. If y'all just need to talk or just want someone to chat with, you know what I mean? Y'all can hit me up.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Hooligan. And I actually don't, have trust issues with you. Although, like with what Dylan was talking about, it is hard to open up to anybody that you find on here because of the insidious nature in which these people have operated. And so, but they do that to isolate you on purpose. I think that's on purpose. But yeah, I mean,
Well,
that's
what's
kind of a
happened?
different. What's up, John?
What's happened? What's happened in the last week or two, mate? That's got to you here.
Well, I mean, it's just a culmination of all of the stuff that's been happening over the last year. It's the consequences of which are going to be happening. Like losing the house.
Right.
You build a life and then it gets taken down. It sucks.
Yeah, that's hard. That's really hard. Yeah. So that's when you said the culmination, you're talking about the house.
Yeah.
Essentially, the pathway that you were hoping to provide to avoid that has been undercut by what's gone on the platform.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and then it's like, I could have done more, should have done more, that sort of thing goes through your mind, what if I hadn't done this or that, and it's all, I mean, pointless really, but still shit that you have to deal with. And then, just the thought that these people will watch this and take pleasure in it just pisses me off. And I know that they will. It's really fucked up. People have been losing
Well,
their
if
lives
they're
on
watching,
this app,
fuck
for the
them.
record. People have been losing their lives on this app because of this type of behavior. And nobody gives a shit. People are self-deleting because of people that engage in that behavior. And it makes these people feel powerful. It's crazy.
So, I mean, what I would say to people like that, and I've had some people like that. I've had a few people who actually delighted in my pain when I lost my brother, and I just had to remind myself that it reveals their character. It doesn't reveal your worth. So I mean, it's it's painful. But so when I lost my brother, there was a point in my life in which I came to me as a thought. I'm like, should this be it for me? And I told myself, like, look, I have someone who loves me. What would it do to my family? But then I hated myself for actually thinking of it, for having that thought permeate. And there's two things that really helped me. One was someone once told me that idle hands are a devil's playground. So always find something to do. I guess to like Hooligans kind of point, because oftentimes our our biggest enemy is never going to be another person. It's always going to be ourselves. And then the other point is, and something that we do a lot in workshops too. And my work is calendar. So it's like everyone, if you think about like people's like daily routine, they say that the more you could fit in a day, the better. Meaning, like I used to have a calendar where I used to only do one or two things, and now my calendar every Monday, there's 16 things that I do, 16, 17, 18. So like LinkedIn workshops or networking events or reaching out to another person. And what that does, it just grows my network of people. And the more you put yourself in a position where you can like talk to others too, even if it doesn't amount to anything at the time, then the more connected you become, the healthier you feel yourself becoming, because we're social emotional beings by definition. But you never know that, if it can lead you to a better opportunity. So that's what I would, in terms of like an action plan, just look at your calendar, see what you can fit in. Even take like some free classes like too online, like on AI. There's some free classes, or like $10, $15 like bucks and stuff. See who you meet there, and you'd be surprised at the types of connections and even careers that can come from it. So, and you're a smart guy. I mean, it's the only reason I come here, right? So, I had a client call the other day.
I appreciate that, APAC. I've actually been building a deck building game, like a roguelike deck building game. Been programming it in Unity, and so like I probably should spend more time doing stuff like that to at least get my mind off of stuff. You're probably right. I probably just
I think it's the calendar for you.
Occupy my time. Yeah, because I do struggle with like being able to stick to one thing for a long period of time. Like, because I'll have 20,000 tabs open and I'll be like, oh, doing this for a little, I guess ADHD. I don't know.
Gotta love the ADHD.
Then I'll, go off on something else. Oh, I forgot I was watching the show earlier. I need to finish that episode to. Oh, I got, you know what I mean? It's a constant, and you like never get anything done yet. You've been busy all day. Fucking hell. Thank you,
Well,
Ball.
Lib, something I heard you say, and I mean, as much as it would like maybe impact a lot of people, dude, if this app and this shit is what's it not, I don't want to say holding you back, but if this is a problem, bro, put it aside for a little bit, dude. Go for, if you like, I don't know, I don't want to get into the monetary thing or whatever, you know what I mean, but like, I mean, go get a job, and put this shit on side. Let's do Man Mondays. Maybe pick up one of these, because if this is causing you grief or pain or putting issues in your life, you got to think about, is it worth it, right? And that's not, that's with anything. And again, I hate to say it like that, but I mean,
to that,
yeah, but go ahead.
They do it because they want you to shut up. That's why they engage in that. And so like what I've been dealing with over the last week isn't specifically the behaviors of those people. It's just the culmination of it, feelings of, uselessness. It's not so much that behavior anymore. I've kind of dealt with that, like that doesn't really, what they do doesn't really bother me anymore, if that makes sense.
Right.
But I'm still to that point where what they did do over the course of the year it's coming to fruition, and, but like, yes, get a job. Sure, I can do that, but I have no passion for just getting a job. I don't do well in like working for people. I just don't. I know that I don't, and that'll come with its own problems. And one of the great things about my wife is that she's so good socially with other people. I'm not. That's just not how. That's not my skill set, right? Because when I have a thought, I speak it, and some people don't like that. So engaging in spaces like this is good for me as an outlet. And you know, it's like Ball said, you just keep going with it. And another creator who happens to be a Republican, she has a lot more viewers. She said the same thing, just keep going. So it's, you know, I'll get past this stuff, but you know, it's Manly Monday and I've been having problems. So I guess here I'm trying to lead by example, you know, talking about the things that are bugging me, you know,
Well, and that's good of you. I mean, you know, because it is for all of us, brother. You know what I'm saying? You know, you included, you know, and people listening that aren't on the panel, you know, it's, you know, so, and I was just trying to throw out ideas, bro, you know, as far as,
I appreciate that. Like
you know, if I see something in my life that's causing a bunch of fucking, causing a, you know, ruckus,
trust
dude,
me. No, I got it. Yeah.
I'm quick to walk the fuck away from that shit, dude. I've had too much of that, you know, and so, but then the ones, like I said, then the ones that you are and you do need to deal with, you know, you just kind of, like you said, you push through those days, you know what I mean? You know, tomorrow, you hope for tomorrow to be, or, you know, you hope in the next hour that it'll be a little better, you know what I mean? And something else will be on your brain, and, you know, maybe somebody comes up with an idea and it triggers something in your head, you know, and, you know,
and to be fair, like, I didn't intend on talking about what was going on with me, but there was nobody on the panel. So I'm like, well, we'll just talk about what I'm dealing with. And then, you know, it kind of, when I started talking about it, I could feel myself getting real emotional. And I'm like, okay, you're going to have to shut up, man. You're going to start bawling your eyes out. You know, I could just, so it's,
well,
but it's,
brother, because that's exactly what this is for, though.
I know. And that, see, know, how fucked up is that? How fucked up is that? Is that,
we can't putting that guard down, letting that wall down, dude, is the hardest fucking thing you're going to have, you know, that we have to do. But, you know, like I said, this is exactly what it's for. You know, there's times, and you don't always talk about you. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, you don't talk about yourself a lot. You know, your experiences and shit, yes, but, you know, as far as getting into it. And so, you know, for this, you know, you should look at your header. You know what I'm saying? This is a safe space for you too, brother. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's good of you to be able to try to talk it out, and it doesn't always help, but maybe one of us, you know, like I said, triggers something in the brain, and you know what I mean, and something goes off, you know, and you can feel a little better, or you need to know that you're not alone.
Yeah, because see, one thing that I wouldn't be able to live with is not continuing because somebody tried to hurt me in order to get me to stop. I wouldn't be able to live with myself by stopping. I know that would bother me worse than dealing with it as it came. If that makes any sense. Right. Like,
yeah,
I would probably feel worse.
I don't know.
But I got a question though.
Yeah.
My question is, what if you're being deliberately provoked by people to keep you to continue in a state of difficulty? In other words, because I don't think it's a question of stopping or not stopping, honestly. I think it's more of a question of how you continue. And there's bigger things to discuss in that than stopping or not stopping on TikTok. And so part of what I'm putting to you there as a counterpoint is to say, what if part of keeping people isolated is to continue to push their buttons in ways that keeps them in an indeterminate state rather than in a state of coordination? And so part of what I see on this platform is that.
I think that's a great point, John, and thankfully there's coordination starting on my side now. And we're we're combating this. There's a group of us who have been injured by the same people, and so we've discovered each other and have compared notes. So it's, with that comes a sense of ease. You know what I mean? A sense of, okay, there's some light at the end of this tunnel, and fuck these people, right? And so there's a counter to that, that's happening that isn't public yet, but I'm sure at some point will be. If that makes any sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, good luck to you on all of those things. I guess it's a question of, in my mind, I'm talking about the platform itself, not just the the various groups you may or may not find within it, because I just wonder whether the platform's compromised beyond repair at this point.
Oh,
Honestly.
right. Well, yes, and that's also something that's going to have to be worked out, is moving elsewhere. I mean, of course, that's going to require work from others. And that's, I can do things myself. I can control what I do, but I can't make somebody else jump ship also, especially if they're not dealing with the same, similar issues or don't see it. But yeah, I mean, I think you make a good point. In that, of course, not necessarily related to do
well. I think what I see is so many creators complaining about the diminishing returns, especially since the move to American ownership. And part of that's obviously that the algorithms have all been changed deliberately to demonetize debate. So. I mean, if you're doing something else that, if you're doing something else that isn't contentious in terms of politics or control, there's definitely more scope. But even then, those people have been demonetized, and we saw the same thing on YouTube. I mean, there was a time in the 215 or whenever it was, 210 to 215, when people were making very good money on YouTube.
Me as well.
And that very quickly turned into another structure, which is essentially, it's a tournament structure, what you end up with. And it's the same thing that's going on here. I mean, it's just basically continuation of the game theory, where it ends up like a tennis tournament. The people who win the tournaments are doing very well, but everyone else, they can't support themselves unless they're one of the top 100 players, so to speak. And that's how the tournament structure works to demonetize platforms. And of course, there's a reason why they go through a honeymoon period where they monetize broadly, because it brings people to the platform for them to then extract through tournaments the profit. So, this is what I'm seeing here again. Well, we saw it on YouTube, we're seeing it again on TikTok.
Yeah, and this, of course, this will be a good discussion for the political side, because we're kind of getting into that, more politics stuff. I think you make a really good point.
Well, I'd actually like to make my point about my personal position, because honestly, I've been isolated now for a long time. And part of that isolation is that, we can talk all we like, but part of what I feel is it's hard to find meaning in the talk. And that's why I'm talking about the platform, not because of anything other than to say that I haven't found a way that we can find a better interface. Like, imagine if we were a group of guys, right? And we all come together and we had to rebuild a car, right? And it's like, hey, we've got this car in front of us, how are we going to go about it? Would we all be content just sitting around talking about it? And not actually fixing the car?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Some men would. Some men would. They'd be sitting there drinking beers. This car, I've been working on this since 1923.
Right? You see what I'm going? What I'm trying to say is that it's good that you can have emotional support with people, and both to provide it and to receive it. Okay, I'm not diminishing that. I'm just saying that there's a point where, and AIPAC was sort of saying it, that was in a particularly American way, distinct from my cultural approach. I would get a calendar together, put 100 things on it. It's like, oh my God. I'm like, a lot of busy work. I mean, don't get me wrong, AIPAC, if that works for you, good luck to you, right? But part of my thing is, well, we get preoccupied in busy work, and I go, how much of that is meaningful? And really, we don't really have a very good plan for how we might rebuild this car. Okay, that's my issue personally. Personally, I find it difficult because I'm here because the people who come here in good faith, and they try to be as open as they can. And so I go, well, is it political to talk about the platform when really what I'm talking about is saying, you know, men don't, in my mind, do a great job of finding a way to actually coordinate. And I'll give you an example. Here in Australia, we've got a thing called the men's shed, right? And you think, oh, men's shed, okay, what is that? And it's actually a shed where they've got a bunch of tools and materials. And I thought, oh, great. So you can go to the workshop, you can work on something, build something for yourself, meet some people. Great. You get there, and then they go, oh, no, we've all signed up to do various projects. Like, so this week we're making letterboxes, right? Next week we're making park benches. And I'm like, have I just got 5 years of sort of medium labour and some sort of weekend facility that I'm coming? What are we doing? What are you talking about? I said, what if I want to build something? I want to build a remote control yacht. Something like that. No, you can't do that. We're building letterboxes. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, it's meant to be and this is what I mean is that no, because you see what they were intent on doing was this is so much of what I see with men, traditionally, not all the time, maybe not in this group, but the whole fucking no, we've got to have a control structure. We need a president, we need a secretary, we need a treasurer, we need office holders, we need fucking a committee. It's like, shut the fuck up. Can't we actually find a more pliable, way of working together to do something that has meaning? That isn't just, so to speak, that isn't just drinking beer and not rebuilding the car, but isn't being forced into some sort of fucking work camp, busy work environment just to make it feel like you're doing something which isn't actually meaningful either. And it's like, to even have that conversation is hard because, I've gone on now for a couple of minutes and I've only just introduced the topic, and yet this forum, this very platform, makes it very difficult to say, well, where do I take that? I can't share a graphic. I can't outline a plan. I can't say, well, hey, the best I can do is say, oh, maybe I can talk about it. Now we're all talking about it again somewhere else. And it's like, there is no platform we can go to where that's enabled. There's not even a broad understanding of what that might entail, because you said it, Tim, some form of democratic approach. And yet I go, well, Jesus, there's plenty I could add to that discussion, but who wants to fucking listen to that? So there you go. And by the way, if I say, well, actually at the heart of our emotional separation and isolation is that inability to coordinate and come to agreement, and go, oh, that's politics. No, that's actually fucking dead on emotions. That is the emotional isolation I feel, is I can't come to agreement and to an understanding of meaning with other men because it's the wrong time, the wrong place, the wrong fit, not enough trust, whatever the fucking problem is.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments to that? APAC, did you second guess yourself there?
Well, I wasn't sure if it was a comment directly, to that. I just was going to say that I'm wondering if you can get the best of both worlds, Tim, where you can be like a campaign manager or influencer of sorts, and then basically, still utilize the platform, still continue doing what you're doing, maybe in a more specialized, capacity, and get paid. So, because I think there are people that think that, oh, I need a marketing degree for this. I need no. There's a lot of influencers and campaign managers out there that don't have the 4-year degree diploma, and you can always work towards it if needed. But at least you have a base, right? So now it's something that's kind of in your wheelhouse. You'd be talking about similar topics, but you wouldn't be letting go of a platform you built or you helped build. You just be leveraging it. So just a thought.
Like in regards to what exactly?
politics, right? So there's political campaign managers that exist that specialize,
I see.
yeah, in like TikTok or YouTube or
You could use this platform
I
as
was actually going to be the campaign manager for somebody running for Senate in Oklahoma, but then that person turned out to be a drunk, so I stepped out.
oh, shit.
oh, they probably would have paid more money then. Come on, so come on.
But I mean,
No,
maybe. But
kidding,
look,
I'm kidding.
You can sell your soul for a little bit. Right?
I was gonna say, I still believe in that person for sure, but it was the wrong time, wrong place. It just was. But no, I see what you're saying. Are you saying like create a campaign manager company from what I'm doing here, or because I'm not sure I understand the correlation.
Yeah, so there's campaign manager positions that campaign manager / influencer positions that have been kind of carved out with the rise of like YouTube and TikTok. And so what I'm saying is that my understanding is that you can be affiliated with a particular party, promote a particular candidate, but leverage your platform to not only have the candidate like come up. Sometimes congressmen and women can come up on a platform and either debate or be interviewed like by you, but also, I mean, you can continue using this as a messaging platform to talk about what you're used to talking about. So liberal policies, etc. So
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean that's something to look into. The campaign managers I've known are, I don't know, they're a little. It's strange. A lot of them are nefarious characters. I mean, really, and they're usually funded by these large PACs that, I don't think they're supposed to be, but so that's an interesting space I'm not so familiar with, but I'm sure I could, dig into it. I appreciate the, bringing that up. That's
I think it's
something
called
I would be
political-
interested in. Yeah.
Yeah, political influencer specialist, I think, is what the role, is called. And I mean, and I know the midterms are going to be big, right? It's so I would imagine the opportunity, because in that way you don't feel like you're basically have to choose. You can maybe get the best of both worlds. So,
Right.
And let's just say if something doesn't pan out or the candidate doesn't win, and the process, maybe you would have already grown, your NIL, your name, your image, your likeness, right? Further through that role. So just throwing that out there.
And there's always OnlyFans. I mean,
That's
Hell yeah.
I've been moving that direction for a little while.
Mate, I'll pay you not to do that.
but hold on a second. Is
Fucking John.
it though?
I don't know. I've only seen the upper half. What them feet look like there.
Oh, God.
You want to? I'll do it. John, where's that money? Or it's happening.
Gee, you're threatening me now. I've got the wallet handy.
Got you by the toes.
Oh, dude,
As long as you're not pulling out your John Eastwood, I think we're good.
Dylan says, save that for the subscription model.
Yeah. Subscription only. Yep.
If you're a subscriber, get access to my all exclusive content.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's what we're calling it these days, huh?
That's funny. I needed to laugh. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's why you invite the Aussie up, surely, mate.
We do have a new panelist, Johnny. What's going on, man?
What's up, everybody? How we doing this morning?
Doing pretty good. What's on your mind?
Not much. I was listening, and I'm just gonna speak when I feel I need to be heard, I guess, in a way.
Okay. Have you been listening long, or did you just popped in?
Yeah, about a couple minutes. But I like what
Okay.
you guys, like, I've been on your panel many, many times.
Yeah,
But I like
sure.
what you were saying, so here I am now.
So the real question, Johnny, are you gonna subscribe to the subscription model for OnlyFans for liberal?
I don't fucking encourage it, for fuck's sake.
No, probably not.
Johnny did
What
say,
parts?
I was listening to
parts?
what you were saying, and I was really liking it.
Yeah, but probably.
Oh, God.
I sent my heart.
That's fucking funny. See, with men, guys, this is what happens. This is what we do.
right. It just descends.
It's that
very quickly.
uncontrolled, yeah,
Oh my gosh.
uncontrolled space. Yeah.
And I can see Liv's wife just like helping him with these poses. So,
She would too. She'd be like, "I'm all about it."
there
Hey,
you go.
my old,
Well,
my old
she-
lady told me, when my old lady found out that she was like, because she's doesn't really get. I mean, she doesn't know nothing about OnlyFans. I mean, she knows about it, but she was like, "Oh, you can sell feet pics," and I was like, "Are you shitting me, babe?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Can I?" And I was like, "Absolutely, we can." You know what I mean? I was like, "Let's take some pics of the feet." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And she's like, "Well, can you do it?" And I was like, "Oh, babe, I don't think it's the same for dudes." You know, like,
Dude, like 20 years ago,
I
I
mean,
used to have a
little
roommate
different.
that did a tickle fetish.
I mean, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I can only helicopter in so many videos. You know what I'm saying, right? Like,
These are all fucking images I do not need.
yeah. But I tell you what, if I can make $1 off of it, man, I'm gonna be flying away.
There you
You
go.
know?
Dude,
Welcome to
literally,
America,
like
John.
20 years ago, I used to have a roommate that would go up to Orlando and, like, a bunch of hot chicks would just tickle each other in bed and post it online.
That's funny. That's so fucking
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
And you know what's
It's
crazy?
so fucking weird.
They have lives of people like just eating pizza off of their stomach or squirrel houses, and these, they get tens of thousands of views. But you talk about anything substantive, and it's like pulling teeth to get people to come and hang out. It's weird. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I really don't get
Well,
it.
Tim, one of the things you could do,
tube
one of
top.
the things you could,
A tube top would probably go a long way, dude. You know?
Well, last time I put lipstick
know.
on, they called me a transphobe. So I got to be careful there with the outfits, I guess. Jeez. Be like, is he making fun of us? Anyway, John, what you had something you wanted to say?
well, I was just thinking to try to move it away from these rather grotesque visuals that I'm getting at the moment. I want to, what you could do, Tim, why don't you combine other TikTok formats that I've seen, like why don't you do politics meets the marble race, right? So you could you create your marble race track, right? You get your various candidates, you put particular obstacles on the track for their policies or their idiocies. And then you run the marbles down the track and you put bets on them. You know how I'm sure we've
That's
all seen the
funny.
marble race TikToks. Yeah, why do you do that?
How
Politics
did
meets
you
the
know
marble
that?
race.
Hey, how did you know the
Hold
secret
on.
of American politics, John?
Marble race?
well,
I've never
That's
seen
how
that.
they do it. That's how they do it in the White House, man. For the White
well,
House.
there you go. There's a freebie for you, mate.
Turning
Now
off
I'm
my
gonna-
husband.
Now I'm going to look it up here. Marble race. Now I got to look this up. Let's see.
Oh, they got
You've
guys
seen-
on
have you
TikTok
seen the
that
marble
do that
races?
shit, bro. I have, bro. It came across my algorithm, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "Are we really?" Now, I'm not gonna lie. The track was pretty intense, dude. It was a pretty badass marble track. But I was like, "Damn, this dude has got it made, man. He's fucking racing marbles, interacting, taking bets, doing all kinds of shit, bro." Yep,
Yeah, my
there you go.
luck though,
Yeah,
I would
I like
lose
this
them
marble
all.
racing. I've been doing bets all day.
But the thing about the marble race, if you do it with politics, right? See, they always seem to have just the same track I saw one guy where he's got all the marbles, different flags of different countries. So it's like America versus China versus, and I mean, but I'm going, why don't you put the faces of various candidates on your marbles? Why don't you put their shitty policies as particular, obstructions on the track and things like that? So the whole thing can be laid out like, right, this race is going to show why this guy is such a fuckwit. And I've got the 10 fuckwit obstacles that I'm putting on the track here. He's got this particular policy, and it's the Nixon sign and the Nixon face, and you get the idea.
That's
right. So you
funny.
can make up these stupid obstacles, and you could do every fucking primary race. You could do every Senate race. You could do, you know what I mean, and take their campaign material.
All the obstacles would just be Republican policies.
Well, that might be true.
It wouldn't be fair.
Big obstacles. Big obstacles.
Well, the thing is, though, because those fucking same policies seem to be tripping up the DNC, since Obama, we can't get a fucking win. It would seem to me that it's probably fair game for the obstacles to count for both sides. So, I don't know, dude. Just trying to think of something more fun that's still political. That's
Yeah, I mean, I've been cooking up some things. A couple of websites I've created, but I don't know. It's hard to settle on something, but being innovative is important. Dylan had an interesting idea for you were talking about it earlier today, Dylan. The God, what was it you said you were going to do? You were going to put the people up in the boxes and give them mod powers or something like that?
Oh yeah, because I don't do mods on my panel, so it's essentially just giving people the double expanded big box with me, and they kind of get to give everybody 10 minutes on the clock. That way nobody gets to feel like they're just being talked over the entire time, because they'll get kind of like a designated spot where they almost get to run the panel with the host, which could be a good idea. I also think Liberal, maybe you need to expand into, are you on Twitch?
I think I have a Twitch account, but I've never done any live.
We were telling him that last week, Dylan. We were telling him
10 minutes is kind of a lot, isn't it?
For what? Twitch?
For one panelist to be up there for 10 minutes alone?
No, running the show, though.
Yeah, it'd be a full panel of people, but it's just one person gets because I don't have mods on my panel, right? So.
Are you Canadian?
Yeah, I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
And then you could get people to judge which of these moderators sucked the hardest and which was the best.
Yeah, and whichever one sucks the most gets booted off the panel.
Right. You're off the island.
There's another guy I watch, Mojo, and he does every X amount of likes, he will kick people.
We don't talk about
So if you got
Mojo.
somebody up here that's really running, some shit, dude, it'll be 25,000 likes, dude, and I kick this person. And so some people are really want to, so it's a little more interactive now. I don't know. I don't want to talk about how I feel about Mojo specifically.
There's other hosts that they're drop a galaxy to drop a panelist.
Yeah, I used to do that. I used to do that, and I don't know. I don't like that. Now, at one point I was doing where, because I had individual timers, and I would do where you could extend somebody's timer up to a certain amount, if you gifted.
That's a good idea.
But, a lot of people got pissed. They're like, so somebody could just pay to keep talking. I'm like, well, I mean, not technically, no. It's, there's an upper limit to that, but it lasted maybe one show. I don't know. It's a lot of different things. And to anybody that's coming in here thinking, why are they talking about this? It's supposed to be for men. They are coming up with ideas to help me and my issues related to that. So just to try and summarize.
I think the political marble track's a winner, Tim, because it goes it goes to your comedic approach. I don't know. It just seems, and it's easy to set up, and then you've got, I don't know. Yeah, you should try it.
No. I actually don't hate that idea, and I think it would be fun to set that shit up in here, and then I could be have a microphone, and on the left side, like a fucking radio announcer,
Right.
some jackass.
Well, I think the key is every race. You've got your, because the way if you watch a few of them, you'll see they've got a bit of a format. In every race, they're sort of setting it up, and then they launch the marbles. But for me, part of the fun here is having, maybe I'm going back to my BDSM textures box of having 50 textures in a box, but I'm a bit like, hey, if you've got 50 or 100 different silly obstacles, you pull them out to match particular candidates. You've got the cutout figures of the faces on the track or their stupid policies or whatever else. You can sort of combine a commentary with the actual race, because the race becomes secondary to the stupid things that are on the track, if you know what I'm going about there.
Yeah, no, so, get marbles with the faces of
that too.
Politicians.
But
that would be.
You got fucked up by Trump's immigration. You've been deported. One of them puts them back at the beginning of the maze or something.
Right, yeah, the hole in the track, and you're in the deported hole. You've hit right.
You're going to be detained for the next, undetermined amount of time. Doesn't that suck? They were going to come after me. Or we could have it be panelists, each of them representing their views. I don't know. That's funny though. Lots you can do with that marble race. Never even thought of that. Never even heard of it.
Really?
Yeah. No, it was the first time. Looks fun.
This is the sort of coordination I'm talking about, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fun.
I think there needs to be some sort of implementation of some sort of survivor or some sort of multi-group interaction situation going on, where one group gets to decide the fate of the other group that's live, and back and forth, and then the audience, there can be a way to get them to interact as well. Because I haven't seen a lot of panels do that, where it's two panels going on at once, kind of ultimately determining the fate of the other panel, right? It's kind of like a collaborative effort, though. That might be a little bit harder to work out, but it would be unique as fuck.
Yeah, that's something worth brainstorming.
Are you in Ontario?
No, You're really focused on me being Canadian.
Well, I'm Canadian. I'm dual citizen, so I'm just like.
Oh yeah, I was born in Alberta, but raised in BC the majority of my life.
I was born in Toronto.
Yeah, I've never been out to Toronto before, so.
But lived the majority of my life in the U.S.
Okay. Which state?
I'm in Florida.
Oh, how do you feel about Florida?
I love it.
I mean, it looks pretty beautiful, but how are the people in Florida?
Depends on who you surround yourself by.
So do you mean depends on what Republican or progressive area you're in of Florida?
I'm in Sarasota County, so I'm south of Tampa, and I have a lot of Republican friends, but we all get along. I don't open my mouth, because I got kids, and so a lot of our family friends are kids that are through school and stuff like that. So I just keep my mouth shut. They keep their mouth shut, and we all get along fine.
But is that actually
It sounds like the life of a man. If you just keep your mouth shut, everything's going to be
pretty
fine.
Much.
Yeah, I'm thinking is that genuine though? Is that authentic, or is that something that you think
they know they know my views, and they know where they stand, and they're starting to subtly, regret their vote. In a way.
I get it. You're just trying not to shove the woke agenda down their throat too much. I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. Something's going on. Both Claude and ChatGPT are both down.
Both what? Claude?
Are down. Claude and ChatGPT are both down. Yeah, let me see if Perplexity is down.
It sounds to me like you just listening to that whole thing about we sort of we don't talk about it too much and all that in Florida. I'm like, Aussies are just so different to that. So I got some redneck mates, right? And I'll just say you guys are just redneck cunts. It's as simple as that.
Pretty much.
Did you,
Yeah.
you said
And they're like,
redneck?
yeah, redneck cunts. So that's what we call bogan cunts. Is what we call it. Like, stop being a bogan cunt, you fucking right wing Nazi. It's pretty
Yeah.
much what I say. It's like, you know, and then they'll laugh at that, and then they'll say, you know, some equivalent retort with the word cunt involved. And then we just sort of carry on like that when it comes up. It doesn't come up that often, not that we avoid it. It's just Australians don't lead with politics. We sort of see it
How do
as,
Australians feel about America right now?
well, I think largely we think Trump's an idiot. I mean,
Yeah.
the majority Labor Party vote shows that, and like the Labor Party have never really been stronger in my lifetime than they are at the moment. So now, having said that, they're not as progressive as they used to be, but they're still a shitload more progressive than you guys would recognise. I mean, you would love to have a party like the Labor Party government we've got here. I mean, they're setting up free medical clinics. They've set up now about 150, I think they're up to, as well as having Medicare. They've expanded Medicare and all the rest of it. You know, we in Parliament last week they were saying, "Oh, we just added a bunch of drugs to our list." One of them was a cancer drug for. There's only 2,000 people in our country that suffer that. Costs $25,000 a script. Those people now pay $20 for each script. The government pays the rest.
Nice.
So that's what we do here. And so what happens is that right, because Australians are funny, right? Because we have this thing where we're sort of larrikins and we're rebels and we don't trust authority. At the same time, we don't like it when people are just assholes and don't sort of follow the rules.